Life from Here. On a Wednesday night in 1992, I walked into the doors of the World Stage in Leimert Park, an artsy and historic area of Los Angeles. The World Stage is a small white performance gallery surrounded by a jewelry store, a black art gallery, a black bookstore, an African dance studio, a black novelty shop, a black coffee shop, and so much more. You could get everything you wanted in Leimert. Good food, weed, clothes, conversation. The vibe was electric down there. Back then, you could roll out of bed at 2 in the morning and the brothers would still be outside of 5th Street Dick's coffee shop playing speed chess. There would be a cipher of rappers spitting knowledge to the wind. The World Stage was right behind, or right in the middle of it all. Something was going there every night of the week. On Mondays, Billy Higgins, who was the world's most recorded jazz drummer, gave drum lessons to the children. Tuesdays was music night. There was more jazz on Thursdays. Friday through Sundays, bands came from out of town to perform. The stage still has a packed schedule. Wednesday nights were and are for poetry. The first person I met was V. Kali. She was at the door taking money and signing people up on the sign-up sheet. She sat at the door, regal as she could. I recited my poems that night, and my work was well received. After the poetry was over, V called me over and introduced me to Sequoia. She looked like an angel. She had this soft voice and easy demeanor. She wore layers of clothes with many colors. I loved them both from jump. From that night on, V and Sequoia were my people. They were my friends, mothers, aunts, sisters, confidants, mental health advocates, and biggest supporters. In many ways, V and Sequoia were my Leimert Park. Last Sunday, January 26, 2025, when I got home from church, I threw my bag on the couch and raced to the bathroom. While I was literally on the toilet, V called me and told me that Sequoia had passed. Actually, all she said through the staccato of heavy breaths and tears was, "Sequoia." And I knew. I didn't even let her get the words out. I couldn't hear the words. I couldn't hear a sentence that would connect death to Sequoia. I listened to V cry. I waited until I heard her breathe several breaths in a row. Then we hung up. I had no words of comfort. I had no peace and sage platitudes. We just hung up. From that day, a whole week ago, I was paralyzed. I did not open my doors to leave my home for anything until I went to church today. I didn't even realize that a whole week had gone by. I didn't take the trash out. I didn't check the mail. I didn't move my car. A friend of mine came by a few days ago, and on her way out, she said, "Hey, I'll take this trash with me." That's how the trash was emptied. I have dishes in the sink from days ago. My bed hasn't been made in 7 days. I've been selling a lot of art, but I haven't been to the post office to send any off. I earn much of my income from selling art on Facebook. So I have been doing the social media dance and keeping up a good Facebook face. But as far as going outside, I couldn't do it. I was stiff with grief. This death cut me deeply. Last night, I told myself that I was going to skip church today and clean up my home. And if you know me, you know that I am a particular way about my home. I love and need my space to be very clean. Early this morning, my pastor and friend sent me a message. Immediately after he sent it, he sent another message to tell me that I was not the intended recipient of the first message. I responded that I would see him later, meaning at church today. Had he not sent that message by accident, I probably wouldn't have gone to church. I'm so glad I went. Service was everything I needed. We had a Black History program before the sermon. It was well written and performed. The choir was awesome. The sermon, as always, was healing. And I needed healing. I needed prayer. I needed to be around people, around living, breathing bodies who know my name. Sequoia used to be a nurse in a psych ward, and boy, did she have stories. So many times throughout the years, she helped me as I battled depression. I could say anything to her, and she never judged. She held my stories and gave me good advice and encouragement. And when my social media posts seemed too sketchy, she was the first one to call to ask if I was okay, if I needed to go to the hospital, or to talk, or if I was eating. I will miss her dearly. Today I decided that I would start a new chapter. Sequoia is the woman I would reach out to handle the kind of pain I've been in from losing her, but she's not here. I would also turn to V, but V and Sequoia were best friends, and she's in pain too. And I would turn to Valerie, and I have. And I appreciate her for being the listener that she is, because she didn't even know Sequoia, but gave me the space I needed to grieve. It's weird the way grief works. It doesn't make sense the way the world keeps going when someone you love passes on. How is service not all about Sequoia today? How are businesses open? How is everyone not hurting? But they are not. Not everyone is hurting. The world is not mourning my loss. I am. And I have to deal with that. After church, I came home but couldn't bring myself to come inside. I sat in my car and ate food from McDonald's. Then I just sat there in the car and stared at the sky. Then I made phone calls from the car. Then I went to the thrift store and bought a sweater I didn't need. Then I came home and sat in my car some more. Then Yuri called, and we talked about how we're getting to Los Angeles for Sequoia's service on March 9th. Then, even though I wasn't hungry, I went to McDonald's again for an apple pie I didn't want. Then I came back and talked on the phone some more. Then it got dark, and I finally came inside. I'm here now, sitting in my room, which is an absolute mess, looking at dishes that belong in my kitchen, which is an absolute mess, and my bathroom and living room, same. But it's okay. Finally, it's okay, because finally I'm okay too. Sequoia is gone. Not gone, but not here like I wish she was. Gone. But I'm here, and I can create a new way to have her. I can go on. I can be okay. I can start from here. Now it's 9:06, and it's not likely that I'm going to clean up tonight. But my head is clear. My mind is good, and I know I'm okay. I know I can hurt and still be okay. I'll get up tomorrow and get this place in order. I'll go to the post office and ship off art. I'll paint. I'll do the social media dance I need to do to sell more art. I will live. Sequoia is somewhere smiling. I know she is. I know it.